And I want to first talk about, how to raise your own queens. It's really important, and it's really pretty easy. And once you learn to raise queens, you will be a much more efficient and confident beekeeper. You really will be. You'll know a lot more about your bees. You have to know a little bit more in order to get on the bee schedule and their calendar. So let's jump right into our lesson tonight. There's 6 simple steps. One thing that people say about me when they tell me they watch my YouTube channel, they always tell me, I like your channel because you keep it simple. And I always say I keep it simple because I'm a simple person. And so, yeah, I want to make this simple because when I first got into queen rearing and I started reading about it, and I tried to understand it a 3 decades ago, it was hard. So look at this. 6 simple steps. Are you ready? And by the way, some of you say, oh, go slower. I'm writing this down. I don't have to go slower. Your computer has a pause button. Your TV, you can pause it and you can even screenshot this stuff, So anyway, 6 steps. Pick a great hive that you want to raise queens out of. That's the big key thing. Now, you don't have to have a great hive. It works a little bit better if you get that kind of genetics from the great hive that you want more queens like her from. They won't be totally her, but they'll be 50% her, right? And so pick a good hive, and we'll talk more about that in a minute. We'll talk about each of these in a minute. Prepare a starter nuke. A starter nuke is a 5-frame nucleus that you're going to make queenless and put your grafts in. Third thing you need to do is graft a 1-day-old larvae. Fourth thing is that you put the larvae, the grafts, in a 24-hour, for 24 hours, you put them in not a mating nook, but a starter nook. Sorry about that. You place them in a finishing hive after that 24-hour period until day 13, when they're 13 days old or 10 days after the egg was laid. And then after that, you place them in a mating nook. Now that may sound really, really obscure if you're new to this. I understand. Remember, I didn't know anything about this either. And even though I kind of hate to brag about myself, I'm a pretty darn good person to raise queens. I've done it for years. All right. Why do you want to raise queens? Well, this gives you genetic selection. Like I said, you can get more of the genetics that you like because you're looking for a special hive that you want more of those genetics on your property. And they're more accustomed to your area. Sometimes when you buy a queen, they might be accustomed to the north or the south, but maybe not where you live exactly. So they might help a little bit there too. Also, if you raise your own queens, you're on your own timing. And that means if you want a queen right now, or you need one in a week, you can make that happen. It's on your schedule. If you're buying queens, you're on somebody else's schedule. When can they ship it to you? When is it available? And so forth. And then, of course, you can save money. Buying a queen today is going to cost you $40 plus shipping. There's 2 ways you can ship a queen. You can ship it like very slowly through the postal service. And that isn't terribly cheap. And sometimes that can take a week or more. And that's hard on a queen. But you can ship it overnight through FedEx or UPS, something like that. And that gets there overnight, less than 24 hours. But then that's always very expensive. It can be as high as, what is it now, $60 for overnight shipping, like that. So that could put you up to $100. So you can save money by raising your own queens. Also, you can make money. I made a whole video where I told how raising queens one summer helped me pay some bills that were hanging over my head that I thought I could never get out from under. So you can make money. I'm not a financial advisor. Do your own research. You are dealing with livestock. There's so many things that can go wrong, but just remember, it is something that you can make money on. I mean, people do, let's put it that way. And of course, by making your own queens, you can avoid shipping injuries. Sometimes the queens get injured if it gets too cold, if it gets too hot or something. And finally, it is constantly available to you to raise your queens when you want to. Yeah. Oh, Leah Burns, my daughter-in-law, and Vera, and Seth. They'd say, happy almost birthday. Papa, love you, Nana. Oh, that's great. Always good to have Leah, Vera, and Seth watching us tonight. And yeah, my birthday is coming up Monday. I'll be 65. Stop rubbing it in. Step number 1, let's break this down. You need to pick your best hive. That means you need to go out there, study it for a year if you want to. I mean, if you just want to raise queens from a package that you got and, you want to try that, you could do that. But I like to do it so I can kind of control my genetics a little bit. So find a hive. These are the characteristics I like. Find a hive that overwinters well. Find a hive that's gentle, doesn't sting you to death. Find one that's mite resistant, if that's possible. You don't want to, I don't like raising queens out of a hive that you do a mite count and there's 30 hives per 100 bees. But I mean, if I do a mite test without any treatment and it only has, 1 or 2 mites out of 300 bees, not bad. That gives me the okay that mites aren't a real big issue. That's pretty common. And then no excessive swarming. Now, swarming can be a genetic trait, that the characteristic that's passed down through the genetic line. So if you have a hive that swarms a lot, yeah, we don't want to raise those queens from that hive. It's going to swarm more. And of course, diseases. I would never raise any queens from a hive that has things like chalk brood, foul brood of American or European foul brood, anything like that. Any sign of diseases, staying away from that. And then finally, it needs to be a great honey producer. That's always a great characteristic to have. You want a hive to make a lot of honey. So those are the characteristics that I would be looking for in a hive from the queen that's in there, so that I would use her as my breeder queen. We call that a breeder queen. And that means we're just going to take her eggs that are fertilized, of course, and raise queens from that queen. And we call her a breeder queen. When we're done using her for helping us to raise queens, she's just going to be called a production queen. Nothing really changes with her. She's still just laying eggs, but we put a different name on her based on what she's being used for. All right. Oh, these images turn out a little bit different on this computer than when I build this, but sorry. Step number 3 is to graft. All right. So step number 3, you have the option of using several types of grafting tools, but the one that I love the most, I like to use the Chinese grafting tool, the one shown in the middle there. And what we're doing is we're actually pulling out a frame out of that prize-winning hive that has eggs on it and larvae, and we're finding a 1-day-old larvae, the first day of the larva stage. So it would be day 3 after the egg was laid approximately, and that's when it's going to be perfect. There's an image in the middle. I see that image in the middle right there in that cell. That is the one that I'm going to graft. And I'm going to insert my grafting tool on the closed area of that C. That would be coming in from the left. You can see how it turns to make a letter C there. If you come in from the open C, it's hard to scoop it up. I scoop under the royal jelly that you see glistening. Or that's what that larva is eating, royal jelly. I scoop the royal jelly out with that larva, and then I move it into one of my cups. So that's what you do. You scoop it out, place it in a queen cup. I'll show you in a minute, in a cell bar. And you always have to have some good lighting, some magnification, like reader glasses or magnification, jeweler glasses, a handheld thing or something. Better to wear something on your head. If you have to hold something, it's going to tie up your hands. You need your hands for grafting. And then you're moving that 1-day-old larvae over into a cell cup. The important thing to remember here, class, is that 1-day-old is always going to get you a better queen. If you get one that's a little bit older, that means bigger and the C is more closed. Can you see the one to the right of that one? If you look carefully, it's wow. It fills up the whole back of the cell there. And it's probably 7-8 days old. That would not even make a queen. It's too far past that 3-day window. So you got to go really early so they can feed it totally royal jelly past day 3. And so you always, when you do these grafts, you always want to cover your grafts that you do with a wet rag until you get them into your starter hive. But we'll talk more about that. Now, grafting, and by the way, all of the stuff that I'm presenting to you tonight is from a booklet that Dr. John Zavishlak and I put together years ago called Raising Quality Queens. The University of Arkansas published this booklet, and so I'm taking images out of this booklet, and you can get the full colored book. I should have one on my desk, but I don't. But you can get one from our website that's printed off at honeybeesonline.com, and you can follow along. I'm taking some of these images out, and in the book, it goes into more details about what I'm talking, even though I'll try to do as much detail as I can. Or if you don't want to pay the, $10 or something for the book, you can download it. And in the description of this live stream, I've got a link where you can go get a PDF file. Now, it's not color. Well, it might be, but you can get a PDF file of that booklet and print it off if you're wanting to save some money there. But anyway, look at the image that John and I put together for you here in the book. We show how you take this Chinese grafting tool, and you see the tool has a piece of wood that's more of a wood color, and then it's got the little extension part that's flexible, that's more of a white color going down towards the larva. And it actually is scooping underneath that larva, and you pick it up, and then you take it over to the blue plastic queen cell cup, and you push the little end down, and then you have a little button on the end of that rod, and you push that button, and that wood gently shoves off the larvae without hurting it. And it's amazing. I love it. It's just so good to use a Chinese grafting tool. But there are many tools available in many different kind of ways that you can raise queens. But this is the way that I prefer, and I've done it for years. I find it to be the most easiest for me. Okay, so the step number 4 is after you've grafted and you've got all your grafts on a bar, a special little frame with a bar that holds it. Now, they don't fall off. The grafts are sticky. They're not, you turn it back upside down, they're not going to fall off. But you notice here, when you build your starter nuke, this is an image that shows what your frame should be inside that little box, a 5-frame box. You should have one of drawn comb, maybe doesn't have much on it at all. You got one frame of honey. You have the middle frame with nothing in it yet, because you're going to put your grafting bar in that opening, and so that's going to be the middle. So you're only gathering 4 frames to get your starter nuke ready. You're going to get a plain drawn comb, frame of honey, a frame of pollen or bee bread, and then another frame of honey, and position them this way in that box. And then when you're done grafting, you're going to place your cell bar frame with your grafts on it in the center of this 5-frame nuke box. There it is. That is what we call a starter hive. Now, in order to get this hive going, you've actually, is that the next place? Let me just talk about it. You actually shake in nurse bees before you insert the cell bar frame, or before you give them any frames at all. I take an empty 5-frame box into the field, and I go to maybe 1, 2, or 3 hives. I find nurse bees that are 6 to 12 days old. How do you know they're 6 to 12 days old? Well, you look for open brood. Open brood is being fed by nurse bees. And so I pull a frame up, I see open brood on it. Some people like to shake the nurse bees off. I don't do that. And I don't recommend it, because I've made videos where when you shake it, you dislodge the larvae and they fall onto the side of their cells and they can suffocate. Their spiracles in royal jelly are only functional on one side at that time, and when you rotate them over, they'll suffocate. So I like to use a brush. Just brush your nurse bees off. You know, they're nurse bees. They're not foragers. They don't really fly. So you just you just gather up. And how many do you put in there? I have found you need to put in about 10,000. It looks like you've dumped a package of bees in there. That's what it looks like. So sometimes you might see 4 frames in a hive, and you can brush those nurse bees off. You might want to go to another hive, get some more. But it doesn't take, too many frames to get a lot of bees real quick. The more nurse bees you have, the better your queen will be, because they can give her more they can give your grafts more royal jelly. So once you get all your nurse bees in there, now you're going to put your frames in there. You gather frames out of your hives. You can't really sacrifice a whole hive, but you may go to one hive and grab a frame of honey. You may go to another hive, grab a frame of pollen, or maybe you want to take it all out of one, because rather than make a split, you're going to make, you're going to make a starter hive instead of making a split. You can do that and that keep your hive from swarming, because they got to rebuild that. So once you put your cell bar with your grafts on it in this starter nook, everything in there is queenless. Oh, let me tell you this. Never, ever, this is where people mess up. Never, ever let there be any eggs or larvae or brood in that starter nook. Never. It will ruin it. They may raise a queen off of the brood on the frame. So you want to make sure that any frames that you move in there are strictly honey frames with no brood, pollen frames with no brood, okay? What happens is, see, bees are going to be in that box, and after about 6 hours, they're going to say, oh my gosh, we don't have a queen. And you're going to give them queen cups, and they're going to say, phew, I thought we were goners, but now we have all these queens that we can raise, because we are queenless. Plus, we're very crowded, so we need to swarm. So you're creating all the environment that they need, multiple environments that they need to actually raise queens. Crowdedness, queenless state. And that's why it's called a starter nook. It works so well. It works every time. You can't fail at this. No, you can't. Everybody can ride a bicycle down a real steep hill, because you don't have to pedal. You just the centrifugal force of the wheels are going to keep you upright. You may crash into a bush or something if you don't know how to steer, but you can raise queens, because the bees are going to do it for you. So after 24 hours of being in your starter nook, you're going to move them over into a finishing hive. And this is what they're going to look like, by the way. These are images from the book that we put together. And we actually filmed this, or took these pictures as we wrote the book together here on the property many years ago. So the plastic cup has a little bit of wax on it. Can't really see it, but it's got a little bit of royal jelly toward the wood, and the larvae is up there. So after 24 hours, on the right picture, look at all the bees, the nurse bees that are caring for about 40 to 60 queen cells. And when you move it out of this starter nuke box, you leave all the bees on there. You take all the nurse bees with that frame to the finishing hive. You're going to leave them on. You're going to leave all your grafts in the starter nuke, let them feed them royal jelly, and start the wax on those cups. And it takes about 24 to 36 hours. Don't sweat it if you go a little bit past 24. If you get 36 on it, it's not a big deal. But they need more assistance to finish them off. That's why we put them over into a finishing hive. A finishing hive is nothing more than 2 deeps. This is one of my finishing hives. It's got my name down on the bottom there, but it's 2 deeps, and it got a queen excluder between the 2 deeps, and it's very, very populated. Make sure it's just beaming with population. So you remove the top deep box middle frame. You see the middle frame is missing. The bees are filling in the gap there, but it's missing. And then that's when you insert your frame that has all your grafts on it. Now that's after the 24 hours they've been in the starter nuke. So now that they've started them, and you're going to put them in a real functioning production hive, but the queen is in the bottom deep, being held down there by a queen excluder. So now when you put that frame of grafts in there, it's exciting, because the bees that are up there, they know they have a queen, but at the same time, they feel obligated, because here are all these vertical cells hanging down that have been started, that have royal jelly in them. So they just scratch their head and say, oh, somebody started these. Okay, we'll finish them. It is amazing how wonderful that works. You would think it wouldn't work, because there could still be pheromones from the queen below, but I've done it for years. It's marvelous. It works every time. And then you let them finish. So what they're going to do is they're going to completely draw out the little cells on all your frames. They're going to keep feeding them royal jelly until they cap them off on day 9. And then they're going to just keep them warm, massage the cells until about day 10 after the graft, or day 13 after the egg was laid. So about 10, I use the calendar of saying, okay, 10 days after I graft. It's easy for me to remember that. I set all my alarm clocks. And so I know that in 10 days, I got to go out there and pull those out. If I don't, and I'm late, or if I grafted an older larva, what happens is she'll emerge sooner because she's older and she will kill all of them. So you got to really watch your timing on this. And here's my daughter, Carrie, my youngest daughter. And she helped us so many years with raising queens, but she did a great job. You can see here, and those are the grafts that have coming out of the finishing hive. And so now those need to be put somewhere. Those are not grafts, but cells that are completely capped over. It's day 10. In other words, they're going to emerge in 3 days. They're going to start coming out. So you can move them and put them somewhere. Try to keep them more in a vertical, don't tilt them sideways just yet. They are still developing a little bit. Now, step number 6 is to place the queen cells that Carrie was just holding. We need to place them in a mating nuke. We need to get these virgin queens, once they emerge, we need to get them mated. So it's really easy to make up these mating nukes. Now, here I have some 5-frame mating nukes. The one you can see facing the camera is a 3-frame mating nuke. I have a lot of 3-frame mating nukes. It's easy just to give them 3 frames and let them, sit there and go out and take a mating flight. But it's amazing. Look at that. On one pallet, I got 3 mating nukes, and they don't have any trouble finding. I got a triangle on one. I got a brick on another. Helps the queen know where to come back to. But, you just not, as long as you have some drawn comb, some honey in there, you need to feed them, you can. But the virgin queen is going to emerge from her cell. You give 1 cell to each of these mating nukes. Now, you can give them 2. Some of the bigger commercial guys that I used to work with, they'll put 2 or 3 in there just for insurance. But I always trust my cells, and so I just put 1 in there. And that virgin queen is going to emerge 3 days after you put her in there. She's going to walk around for a day or 2 or week, and then she's going to take a mating flight, maybe 2 mating flights. She's going to come back and lay her eggs in there. And then after she lays eggs, and they cap over those eggs after about 10 days when she laid them, you can judge her brood pattern. And then you can make sure she's laying good worker brood, solid brood pattern, and then you can use her or sell her. But that's how you do it. You want to monitor how well she's laying. So that is a rough little, not really rough, but it's a quick overview of how to raise queens. And again, you can get my guide on this, and it'll help you a lot if you want to follow along. But we're going to go in more details about all of these processes, because it's just a matter of wrapping your brain around it. When I first started doing it, it was very, very kind of unfamiliar territory, and I just had to keep learning, and it doesn't matter how old you are. If you're over 40, you're over 60, if you're over 80, you can do this. We all need to keep our minds working, and this is going to help us really learn a lot by raising queens. Oh, thank you so much for your super sticker. You guys are great for making your donations tonight to help the live stream out. I appreciate it so much. All right. Okay, so we're going to keep looking into more of this as time goes on. So next Thursday, we'll go into more detail about each of these processes, and you can take more notes. I know you got a ton of questions. I'm here to help you. I'm here to give you as much free information as I can, because I really believe raising queen is going to make a real big difference in your beekeeping endeavors. So I'm here. You've got somebody to work with you on learning how to raise queens. I also have a queen rearing online course if you want to take that. It goes into a lot of good videos that shows you how to graft in that class. Some of you have taken that. And in fact, we're going to give a queen rearing course away. We're going to have a giveaway of my online queen rearing course in just a minute. So stick around. That'll help you a lot. Brian Bennett, thank you, buddy. Oh, thanks for the birthday present. I appreciate it. My son got a nice leather jacket today. He bought it. He works for us and he bought it. And I was looking at it and I was like, that's beautiful. I want a leather jacket for my birthday. I'll see what I get. I don't know. I asked Sherry, is turning 65 one of those, birthday monumental dates that you're like 65, like you turn 16, that's a big date, right? A big date. I'm 16. Is 65 a big deal? I don't know. It's kind of like, I think with the government, when you turn 65 is a big deal, but I don't know if it is with everybody else. But it's a big deal. What happened? I was 35 yesterday. All right, let me get a drink of water and then we'll have a Q&A time. And then we're going to do spin to win. All right, regardless of beeswax candles, I would like to know if the heated wax, while the candles that releases pesticides or chemicals that are retained in the wax. Now, that is a very good question. We do know that sometimes there are certain types of treatments or chemicals that do get caught in the wax. The wax collects it. And I see no reason why it couldn't stay there and be released. So I think the safe answer is, yeah, it could, but probably a broader answer is it's kind of unlikely that it would be that significant, but I'm not sure. Thank you, Delmer, for your donation tonight. Very nice of you. David, do you have any thoughts on treating a package for Varroa a few days after installing it? A lot of people like to do that. I know the feeling is you want to start off with hardly no mites at all. I get it. The thing that I'm worried about is with a package, you abscond them on undrawn frame usually, and they don't have any food in there, and it's usually still cold in the spring, and now you're going to vaporize them, gas them, or give them something that's going to be really not too good. They're not going to like it. Could that prompt them to abscond? So I would rather have bees with mites in a month that I could deal with the mites in a month rather than no bees at all because they absconded. So yeah, you can do it, but it's not definitely going to you got to worry about absconding. Brian Hill, member for 6 months on my YouTube channel. Thanks so much. First year beak here with only one colony. I plan to have 3 or 4 colonies in the coming year. Yep, that's pretty typical. All beekeepers want to have more. I get it. My question is, what considerations do I need to decide how close to each other they should be? I'm in MA, Massachusetts, Maryland. So it doesn't really matter how close they are. Commercial beekeepers keep 4 beehives on a pallet. It's going to be more the convenience to the beekeeper. Now, there are a lot of studies that show if you can keep your bees really far away from each other, there's less drifting and therefore less possibility of mites that could be, brought in by drifting or robbing or something like that. But that's just not practical for a lot of people to keep them that far apart, 100 yards apart or something. So make it comfortable for you. I'm going to move mine over to the berm in the back, and I'm going to have them real close, but I'm going to leave me a place where Patrick and I can film and walk and take lids off and not feel crowded or be in a bee path. That's what you need to think about. David, if you have to do it over again, would you have standard Langstroth highs or long Langstroths? Standard. I know. Hold Tom's comment for a minute because I want to talk about the long Langstroths. I do have a Langstroth long hive, but here's the deal. Bees, I get a lot of, every week I get people that are into either like Lands hives, which are kind of like, they're horizontal hives, or Langstroth horizontal hives. I get a lot of people say, I love them. They're great. Nothing like it. They're the best ever. And that's great. If that's your deal, that's wonderful. I have just found no success at all where I live, where it's so cold, for horizontal hives that have to struggle with their cluster, to move in and out and go somewhere where the honey is. But I don't know. Now, I always want to wonder where when people tell me they're having real good success with it, I want to ask them, where do they live? They live in a warmer climate than I do. I just don't see, you don't see a lot of commercial beekeepers using them. You don't see a lot of Canadian or, really far north beekeepers using them in large numbers. I think backyard beekeepers can do it. I think it's a lot of fun. They're really easy to work, great for your back, but yeah, they're different. Oh, there's Tom. Hey, Tom, thanks for your donation tonight. Thanks for your help with your queen rearing last summer. Don't give up. Be deliberate and gentle with the grafting, and don't skimp on the nurse bees. You and Sherry are the best. Thank you. Yeah, I helped Tom. He's the member of my B Team 6, and I helped him work through some queen rearing issues that he was having. And yeah, he figured it out. He's a big queen producer now, thanks to following my course and all. So Tom, great to have you in the queen rearing family. Thanks, Tom. Hey, Deborah, coming into package time, I've noticed vaccinated queen options. What do you think about this? Good or too new? No, it's not too new, and it is good. It's a vaccine for the American foul brood bacteria. Thank you for your super sticker. So in other words, do you have a problem with the American foul brood? If you do, if you can't shake it, if it's always a problem, vaccinated American foul brood vaccinated queens might help you. In Illinois, thanks, Wayne, for your super sticker. In Illinois, we just don't have that large of a problem with American foul brood. I have never had it in nearly 30 years of beekeeping. I've never had it. So, if we had a vaccine for the Varroa destructor, that'd be great. I would have a vaccinated queen, but it's not that. It's just for one thing, American foul brood. Hey, Philip, this is great and timely information. Happy birthday, David. Thanks, Philip. Appreciate it. Hey, Jerry, how long can you leave bees confined in a hive after you move the hive? Oh, that all depends on many things, mainly the temperature, the weather. If it's in the summertime and it's getting too hot in there, they're in the sun and you've got solid bottom board, no ventilation, you just don't want to leave them in there too long. But if it's in the wintertime, a long time. Thanks, Pamela, for your super sticker. Yeah, not too worried about that. But most of the time you move hives, you need a moving screen. You either need like a screen on the top, or certainly a screen bottom board would help too. Hey, Richard, do southern winter bees live as long as northern winter bees? I'm asking because our southern winter bees are still bringing in pollen. The difference is, Richard, is all to do with winter physiology, right? So winter physiology is prompted when bees have a dearth, when bees have nothing that they can bring in. If they have things that they can start bringing in, then they can start raising brood. I should say that winter physiology is prompted by the inability or a brood break, I guess is a better way to say that, from a lack of food. So yeah, it's not that the bees are different, it's that they're evaluating their environment different and making different decisions on winter bees. Hey, Matthew, thanks for your super sticker tonight. Appreciate it. Yeah. Hey, Robert, how are you doing? Hello from Arkansas. Always good to see another Arkansasian. What is your opinion or experience with Cordovan Italian crossbreeds? Oh boy. Okay. Really, really quickly, haploid, diploid genetics don't really get me too excited that we can keep tight lines. It really doesn't. Bees go out and mate our queens go out and mate with 20 plus drones from different genetics. And even if you did get a great Cordovian Italian crossbreed and they swarm one time, you don't have that anymore, because the daughter of that queen is going to go mate with 20 drones from who knows where. It's impossible for beekeepers to keep tight lines, even queen producers. I tried to keep tight lines. Remember Larry Connors? He's a great queen author of many books. He had the Starline queens, is that right? And I think he couldn't keep a tight line. Brother Adam with the Buckfast, he struggled with keeping a tight line. Everybody you struggle. It's not like dogs and cats, people. Haploidy, diploid, it's hard genetics, yeah. So that's hey, instead of a name brand or a race, if you want to call it that, I just go with a good producing queen. I don't care where she's from. I don't care where her ancestors are from. They don't have to be from Italy. If they're making good queens, hey, or good brood and all, making honey, you win. Alex, thanks for the birthday present. Wow. Appreciate it, Alex. You guys are very sweet tonight. I appreciate that. I have been working so hard making so many videos and writing so many articles for bees. It's been really a hectic week for me. Yeah. Wow. Oh, Elizabeth. How can I raise queens if I only have one hive? Happy birthday. You can raise queens with one hive. I would recommend that you raise a small number, Elizabeth. So get a mating nuc, and that way you can have a smaller mating nuc because you may only put 1 or 2 or 5 grafts in there. You don't need as many nurse bees, right? So you can just scale down everything that I just showed you and make it very small. Remember, every beekeeper is a queen producer. Your bees are raising queens every year. I know that for a fact when they swarm. So they're doing it on your watch. You're just going to make them do it in your time and in your boxes. Thanks, Linda, for your donation tonight. Yep. Hey, John, how can I do a spring split and maximize my honey output? You need to go to YouTube and look at my video that I made writing backwards on a board, a clear board, and it's called the Demarade method. It's a Demarade method. It's probably the go-to method to do exactly what you want to do. You can still keep them from swarming. You can still make a split if you want to, or you can keep them together and you'll have unbelievable amount of honey. Demarade method. Look for that on my video channel. Yeah, it's a good video. Oh, good questions. One more and let's do spin the win. Hey, Rick, David, how is your queen bank experiment going? I have no idea. I would not dare open that hive up. It didn't look good to the fall. I don't think it looked good at all. So remember when I did the queen banking experiment, trying to bank queens through the winter, I said, I don't think this is going to go good. But what I like is I'm gathering data points so that I'll know, okay, that didn't work. What does work? You got to start somewhere. And I took the most easiest path in case it did work. I didn't have to spend a lot of time making it work. So if it doesn't work, it just means I drill down more and I make it work. Good question. Yeah, we'll do some follow-ups. I got a lot of crazy stuff that I got to experiment with in the spring. All right, so got a lot of stuff on this. Oh, by the way, thank you guys. If you're new to my live stream tonight, welcome. Appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. I see a lot of you say that you're new first timers here. So I really appreciate you coming to the live stream. We got a really big crowd tonight. So thank you. And this spin the wheel is more like Embarrass David the Wheel. I really think it is. It should be called Embarrass David the Wheel. I just should start putting more embarrassing stuff on there. I think I could get more views that way. So instead of a waggle dance, I did put a round dance because bees do a round dance when they find some nectar sources pretty close to their hive. And they're just like, hey, it's close by. Go out there and find it. You know, I sprayed it with whatever and you can smell it. Okay. And so we got some cool stuff. So let's see where she's going to land tonight. Okay. Oh, Embarrass David wheel. Yeah. All right. Where's round dance? Oh, it's a giveaway. Bing, 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 bing. Yay. It's a Beak Squad giveaway tonight. And so our giveaway is going to be a queen rearing online course. A queen rearing online course. So if you want to be the winner right now of this course, just put #queen in the comment section. And that's going to be, I'll spin this again, so don't go anywhere. So that's going to be like all lowercase. If you've won this, listen, if you already bought this, thank you very much for your business. If you've already purchased the ultimate class, it came with the queen rearing course. So please don't try to win it because you already own it. Let somebody else win it that maybe not have the money to buy it, or they just have just heard about it for the first time. So let other people try to win it. But if you don't own it, if you don't have this would be a great course to help you wrap your mind around it, because This online course is me teaching you and showing you how to do it. And it's like you can pause it, right? You can keep it as long as forever, and you can pause it, back it up, play it again. You can get it. It's not like you're at a conference or a class where you've only got the guy talking up there, and then when he leaves, you forgot what he said. So this is going to be very valuable for you. All righty. So hashtag queen if you'd like to win the queen rearing course. Hashtag queen. Wow, I forgot to keep my comments all the way. My goodness, there's a lot of comments. I'm trying to get to the bottom. Will I ever make it to the bottom? I don't think I'm going to make it to the bottom. And this, no. That's a lot of comments. Well, all right. Hashtag queen. We'll see who will win our queen rearing course, and we'll get that sent out to you. After Robbie spins the wheel tonight to see who wins, there'll be a banner that scrolls across, and that will tell you where to email us. And that way we'll get your your email address. We'll get your email address to email you. beaksquadwinner@gmail.com. And do try to let us know within 24 hours. Things happen fast here in our YouTube studio, bee operation, business and all. And we may forget about this if you can't get right on us. So try to email us within 24 hours. Oh boy, that's great. Yeah. Oh, it did start to melt snow a little bit today. That's really been good. I got some projects where I need to move some stuff around out in the bee yards. I need some warm weather. All right, let's do it, Robbie. Let's see who will win tonight. And then we'll spin the wheel again. One more chance to embarrass David after we see who wins tonight. All right. I love watching the names go by. Recognize many of you. Thanks again so much for watching. Appreciate all of you a lot. All right. Brent Kessler. Yeah, Brent, there you go. Thanks for subscribing to the YouTube channel. And boy, Brent, hope you do learn a lot from the course on how to raise queens. Again, if you didn't win tonight, you can look at our website, honeybeesonline.com, and you can purchase the online course. That'd be great. But let's go ahead and spin this again and see where she lands this time. I love this little wheel. I think I wish it had less spots on it. I think it'd be better. Round dance. Oh, it went past the round dance. Oh, bee trivia. All right, honeybee trivia. I've got some cool trivia. I love talking about honeybee trivia. All right, let's see. I'm reading some sheets here. What physiological change helps winter bees live longer than summer bees? A lot of people ask that. Why are bees of winter physiology? What makes them live longer than summer bees? Do you know what the answer is? It's because they have increased fat body reserves, vitellogenesis, and they have decreased activity levels. Bee trivia. Let me throw a few more at you. Let's see. Okay. What is unique about the genetics of a drone bee compared to workers and queens? Well, drones are haploid. They only have one set of chromosomes as they develop from unfertilized eggs, right? So a drone, get this, I know I'm going to sound like an idiot. You're not going to believe me when I say this. Drones don't have a father, but they have a grandfather. That's true. I'm not making that up. You're like, oh, wait a minute. That ain't even possible, David. You must be crazy. What are you drinking in that cup? I'm on a roll here. I'll give you an easy one. What is the scientific name for the Western honeybee? And I said this during our biology class a couple of weeks ago. What's the scientific name of the Western honeybee? That's what we have, the Western honeybee. Apis mellifera, honey-carrying bee. All right, one more. Thermoregulation. Thermoregulation. What is the temperature range bees maintain inside the brood nest area for optimal brood development? I'm going to give Celsius for those of you over the pond, so don't freak out. It is around 92 to 95 degrees Fahrenheit, 33 to 35 degrees Celsius. That's the optimal temperature for the brood nest to raise brood. All right, that is some cool bee trivia tonight. And David did not have to do a dance tonight. Wow. Whew. Got lucky tonight. I am going to add more embarrassing things up there. Next week, I promise I'll put some more things up there that I deem embarrassing, but fun. Okay. Oh my gosh. I made it. No dancing tonight. If you do want to watch the video where I had to do a waggle dance, that's like, it was the last live stream. So you can watch the last live stream. All right, let's hit some more questions tonight. Hey, Robert, thanks for your donation tonight. Pretty sure I had a queenless side. The queen I installed was tan. There was one bee that drug her out to the bottom of the frame. Checked a week later, had brood, but she was almost black. Is that possible? I'm going to say no, probably not. You know, queens, when they emerge, like if you're raising your own queens, they're lighter. They are a lighter color. Everything's lighter when you're born, you know, a little bit, right? A baby has got light skin when they're born. Everybody's lighter. Bees are a little bit, I've noticed queens are lighter. They're almost transparent in a way, but as they age, they get hairy, they get darker, you know, things get darker. But going from brown, what did you say, tan to black? No, I'm going to call that a different queen. Definitely different queen. Yep. All right. What else you got tonight? By the way, if you don't get all your questions answered tonight, I will have another video tomorrow, the Green Chair Answer Day, where I'll do my best to answer more questions tomorrow. Roughly, how many nukes can you make from a strong spring colony? I always like to give the example that really happened to me. I was desperate one year. I oversold my nukes one year. So I had more nukes than I had bees, I think. So I remember taking one hive that had 30 frames in it. It had 2 deeps and it had a super on it in the spring. I made 30 nukes out of that box. Now it left me without a hive, but I was desperate. So I put a queen cell that I raised on a frame that I took out and put that in a nuke box, just one frame of bees and a queen. And I don't know if they all made a nice nuke, but mostly they did. I at least got probably a good 20 out of there. So you can make a lot. Yeah. It may take a minute, but you can do it. I was able to remove a beehive for a friend of mine under their house. They are going good, I think, but a little aggressive when looking through the hive. Would requeening help? Okay, so AJ, where do you live? I hope you're not in Africanized territory, like some of the Southwest area where their Africanized bees are. A lot of times you can get Africanized bees under houses, and then they swarm. They swarm so much. And so that may be why they're aggressive. But let's say you didn't and you live somewhere where you don't have Africanized bees like that. Yes, requeening, all the difference in the world. Absolutely, requeen. All right, rapid fire me some questions. We'll do 1.5 minutes of rapid fire. I'm going to give rapid fire answers. Central Texas. Yes, I know where that is. I think that is Africanized territory. Maybe not, but I think so. All right, lay some fast questions on me. You guys, with the questions, you're going to have to pull the trigger fast. Is there a temperature that would make you would cover your hives? We're getting down below 0 this week. Absolutely. I would say anything in single digits, cover that thing. Next question. Hey, David, I found out the power company sprays herbicides on a nearby easement. Is that just as bad as pesticide? No, it's not. There's nothing like a pesticide. It only kills herbs. So it's only going to be killing the plants. It's going to reduce what your bees can eat. All right, next question. Can you out hatching brood in a starter nuke? Don't know what that means. Not sure what you meant. With stacking frame, what do you think of honeycombs and renunciation of acids? Skip that one. Do you need to freeze frames that I use this year for next year? It doesn't hurt. You kill wax moth or small honey beetle and all that stuff. It doesn't hurt anything. You're not going to kill any diseases though. Would stacking 5-frame nukes secured down work well? Seems like they want tall comb. Oh, Stacking 5. Yep, that'll work fine if you can get it not to fall over. The footprint is very small in proportion to the height. I've done that before. When is your timeline you recommend for start doing this in Illinois? Queen rearing in the month of May. Absolutely. When beehives start raising their own queens, that's when you should do it. I have a queen that lays more drones compared to other hives. Should I replace her? Absolutely. Yes. She's failing. There's something wrong with her. Sam from Missouri, what time of the year is ideal to do your grafts? Like I said, when bees are going to swarm. A week before they swarm, start raising queens. David and Sherry, what impact does queen rearing have on honey production, if any? It will reduce, if you have to steal a lot of bees out of your production hives, that's going to hurt you. So you almost have to have hives dedicated for honey, hives dedicated for queen rearing. All right, maybe one more. David, Sandy, how are you? How long after you started beekeeping did you start raising queens? Oh, that's a good question, Sandy. Gonna say 10 years, maybe a decade. Yeah. All right, guys, that's all we have time for tonight. Our 59 minutes of fun has expired. We've had a ball tonight. I want to thank Robbie and Sherry and Jessica for doing such a great job tonight. I want to thank all of you, really, seriously, for being a good friend of me and Sherry, Robbie and Jessica. We love you guys. We appreciate it. Big part of our week is hanging out with you guys. I know a lot of you tell me you feel the same way. You always look forward to Thursday. Do me a favor, subscribe, give me a thumbs up, tell your friends about the live stream, invite others to come be a part of our live stream. We're here every Thursday night for an hour. Not going to steal any time from you, but we're going to just make the best of the 59 minutes that we have. So appreciate you so much. Do check out our website, honeybeesonline.com. Also, again, guys, thanks a million. Wow. You guys were so great to with all your questions tonight and the comments and the chat and your donations. Appreciate it so much. What a great group of people. What a community. I found my tribe. I've found my people. I'll see you next time. Watch for my next video. Good night, everybody.